Welcome to my little country kitchen, friends. My name's Marianne. Today I'm going to be showing you the 3-bin bucket for the worms, and I'm going to show you how I built it, how I stacked it, how it came through 3, 6, 9 months later. Yes, this is a long video in process. Come along with me and I'll show you some surprising results that you won't believe. Let's go. Okay, this will be my bottom bucket, and this is my second bucket. And so to prevent the worms from going down through these holes, I am going to get a layer of newspaper so they don't fall down there, because the worms that I have are pretty small. I'll show you. Let me bring you closer so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, a moist newspaper down at the bottom to cover up the holes. And add some cardboard. Add some of the dirt. And this part's still looking a little dry because I can see dust. I'm going to get that a little more wet. And the rest of my worm food, I did make a lot. I'm going to go ahead and dump it in this. You can see that banana peel. I'm going to dump it in this and freeze them, so now I can just pull out a cube or 2 or 3, depending on how much they eat and how fast. Now I can freeze that and just pull out a cube. Looks like I want to make more, actually, so I'm just going to throw that away. Now I have more worm food when I need it, and I can just pop it out of the freezer. Really fast way to feed them. Welcome back. It's now 3 weeks later since we started our worm bins. Let's look inside, dig inside, and see how they're doing. See if they're ready for the second bucket that they can move up to and migrate to. My sister made that. How cute. It's from Dollar Tree. It's just a pizza pan, and she decorated it for me. Old t-shirt. Semi-damp paper. Newspaper. Oh look, we have something growing. How funny. Okay. Oh, fine, I'll just dig in here. It's actually looking really good. Oh, there's some worms. Your little wormy friends. I forget, this bucket isn't very deep. So it looks like they ate all the food that I had in there from last week, except that tiny little sprout. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and call it yes, they could use the second bucket. So let's get that prepared. 1/4 inch. Did that last time. As you can see, my girly drill isn't that awesome. My husband's DeWalt's aren't here at the moment. He's at work. Throw the plastic away. And get the layers going. Okay, so with the second bucket, I am not going to put anything on the bottom because I want them to freely be able to crawl up easily. So I'm just going to start my lasagna layers with some wet dirt. And this, honestly, wasn't very wet. I need to add more water. Do you see all that dust? Gonna add a little bit more water. Mix it up. And this time, this is just peat moss. See how it'll sort of clump together but also fall apart? That's perfect. Now the next layer. Next layer, some cardboard. Next time I will add the cardboard pieces at the very bottom. They break down a lot better that way. More dirt. Or peat moss. Moisture. Another good way to add moisture is actually ice cubes, so you're not like drowning them out. And some cut up paper. More moisture. Get that paper wet. More dirt. More moisture. Now I want to add some of their food. These were strawberry, blended up strawberry and bananas, and they're ice cubes frozen. So these will melt on their own, the food, and they'll be able to smell it. Go ahead and add 5 big chunks. Number one thing with when adding food to your worm bin is covering it. You need to cover it with more dirt so it does not mold. And if you're worried about if you're adding too much water, my tip is to get ice cubes and add just regular ice cubes like that, and those will slowly melt, and that will give them the water and the moisture that they need. Okay, that one's done. I am going to go ahead and put my paper on top for that. Wet that down. And now we're going to add it to the top of the other bucket. Okay, here's the original bucket with an empty bottom bucket. And now here is the new third bucket. So now they can go ahead and migrate up, and we will be back when I check on them to see the progress of them migrating. Oh, and we definitely need to cover this. Keep the buggies out. Put my little plate on, but still have airflow. I probably will end up doing 1/8 inch air holes in the top right here. But I can do that later. Okay. And that is what it looks like. So, empty bucket on the bottom. The worms are in the second bucket. And now I have a new third bucket on top for them to migrate to. And I will keep an eye on it, see how long it takes for them to migrate up. And I'll bring you along. We'll be back. Okay, you can get, as I was saying before I was really interrupted by no more memory, you can get a t-shirt, tuck it into the bungee, make it nice and tight, and you can have still airflow getting in, but all the tiny little fruit flies and stuff like that will stay out. And it's kind of like a sourdough starter, but big, or a kombucha. Last but not least, I want to encourage you to give this DIY project a try. Share your experiences in the thingamajig below, your thoughts, your comments. I can't wait to see how your worm bin journey unfolds. And a couple of things that I've encountered. So some of the challenges. I live in Utah, and so it's very hot and dry in the summer and very wet and cold in the winter, right? And so when I first did my bins a couple years ago, I put them outside underneath my porch in the summer and in my shed for the winter, but they all dried out because I forgot about them and they died. So it was like out of sight, out of mind for me, unfortunately. So with this bin, I'm gonna do these small round buckets instead of the big ones, and I'm gonna stick it under my kitchen table down there. And that way, the temperature is more regulated than outside on my porch or in my shed. And hopefully it'll turn out way better. It's been 3 months since I started my worm bin. And as you can see in the catch bin there, a couple of worms got out, so we need to rescue them. Oh, there you go. There was a lot more in here than I realized, probably about 15 or 20, because they're so tiny. Okay, I don't think I see any more. I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, there's a couple. I'm gonna go ahead and dump this. I'm gonna dilute this down and dump it into my green stock. That way all of this delicious, good worm tea is not gonna go to waste. So let's dilute that. As you can see, I diluted it with a few cups of water, and I'm going to dump it into my green stalks somehow. There we go. Okay, now back inside. So after 3 months of observing this 3-bucket bin system, I only have 2 technically so far. The third one, I'm going to do a little bit different. Oh, I want to add the food that I just chopped up. They love really ripe bananas. I don't. Skins and all. Just be sure to take off the sticker. And cover it with dirt so the fruit flies are diminished. I do need to work on the fruit flies. There's quite a lot. It's alright. Okay, now I'm gonna add more cardboard. Next time I will make this all paper instead. More dirt. And if you've been seeing my Every Bit Counts challenge, I made a worm smoothie as I preserved some food for my worms. Where did my jar go? There it is. Yellow lid worms. Because I blended up the banana skins and all for this. So in the new third bucket, because my idea was they are not migrating up to the food. They are, but then they're just going back down. So they eat it, but then they just go back down. So I'm going to start adding the food at the very bottom, and I want them all to go down, is the idea. And since there's a lot more in here, I'm going to be adding probably at least 1/4 cup, maybe to 1/2 cup of food, depending on how many worms you have. And I want to fill this bucket as full as possible so I can get as much compost as possible. Oh, and then of course, just for now I'm going to stick it on top so I can add water. I wish I would have added water throughout all the layers, but it's okay. It'll soak down. Maybe move my paper. Okay, so now this will be the third bucket. Oh, look at that awesome compost. Like, that is ready to harvest, but I need them to get out. So, hang on, I have 3 compost buckets and then a catch bucket. There we go. Okay, so that's my solid bucket. Now I'm going to add the new one with the food. This one is the most composted. Yeah, look at that. That is awesome and rich. Look at that. That's amazing. But there's lots of worms in here. I want them to get out and go down to the other bucket so I can harvest this compost. And then this is the top bucket. Oh, this is really fluffy too, but it's drier than the one on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to put this back on. And I probably do need to do a screen covering because can you see a couple of the fruit flies? I scared them all away for now, but let me get my lid. Where'd it go? Put the lid on top. And yes, you have to take your time for a compost bin. It's been 3 months. And here's a 3-bin system. But this is the first box, the second bucket, and then this is the third one because I realized they want to migrate down even more. So I'm just going to slide this under my table again. And I'll feed them again. Probably, I'll check them. I'll check the bottom bin and see if they ate all that food in a week. So I'll mark that. I'll mark that on my calendar. Okay, thank you for joining me in this 3-month-long journey. I'm making banana bread next. Thanks, guys. Bye. So I checked on the worms. There was one little spot of a moldy thing in here. I took that out, and their food is all gone. So I dumped some cherry halves in here, probably 5 or 6 of them, and this paper was completely dry, so I'm going to go ahead and wet that down again and cover them back up. And this was about a week and a half from when I put them in. We'll be back. I let the strawberry banana smoothie for the worm food defrost, and now I'm going to feed them one.
Gave them some cherries too, but I think they'll like this as well. Just wasn't ready at the time. Now it is. Okay, this is getting dry. It is really hot in here. It's like 85 in our house. We're working on fixing that. Keeping these moist. Okay, we'll check back in a couple weeks.
So as you can see with the whole process with the bins, the next bucket that you want to put on the very bottom, and that way with the food, and that way the worms will go down, because they naturally want to tend to go down to their food and to be safer from weather and all that stuff. So you don't put a new bucket of coco coir on top, you want to stick it on the bottom. And if you like this video, please check out these other ones that you might like as well. Thank you for joining me. Smash that like and please share with others. Thank you so much. Bye guys.